Hey Lena, thanks so much for joining the show today.
Thank you, Alex, for inviting me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, joining us from Portugal. I wish I was there. I'm jealous.
Yeah, I wish we all could be here. It's getting finally warmer and a little bit sunnier. So yeah, definitely a great place to be right now.
Nice. Yeah, well, to get started, tell us a little bit about like your journey in UX and a little bit about what you do.
Yeah. My journey in UX started a couple of years ago. So basically, I started in product design recruitment. I've hired for all the functions of design, but product design and UX were like the closest ones to me. And so this is something that I've been doing for quite a few years. I've also transitioned from recruitment into UXR role at Miro and spent there 1 year. It was awesome. Really diving into like what you were pitching for quite some time was an excellent experience because really, you say one thing, but then you experience it and you're like, oh, actually, is it really how I was saying it? So that was really like eye-opening. That was amazing to also understand a little bit like how designers and UXR think, which makes me, I think, a little bit more I'm passionate towards the talent at this point that I am the founder of my own agency and, helping them to get hired, helping them to get selected for the roles. And so, yeah, I really see myself now as a bridge between companies and talent. I help both. So I help companies to hire and I help candidates to get hired. I'm speaking and saying the same things all over again and trying to really kind of spread the knowledge about, proper recruitment, proper application strategies, because I feel like they've changed so much. Like the rules
Yeah.
have changed, but not so many people acknowledge this. And that's where we see the market is struggling a little bit at the moment. So yeah, very excited to have an opportunity to share once again, some of the good things.
Thanks for describing the journey. I think like we'll talk about the designer side, but I think what I'm interested in is the company side. Like I think a lot of companies, depending on their design maturity or their understanding of UX or UX research, like really struggle with hiring and don't know what they're looking for, or like I think maybe just haven't actually defined a process. It just seems like organized chaos from the hiring side. What do you tell companies? Like, what advice do you have for like really growing a UX team?
Yeah. And before I answer that, I want to kind of, follow up on what you said. To be fair, design maturity is not a direct reflection in hiring maturity of
Sure.
designers and other disciplines. So the company can be very mature in the way how they do their rituals, how they do like, discovery process, exploration, research, and things like that. But then now the market is in the situation that we feel that there is a lot of talent, right? Because lots of people got laid off. And so a lot of employers get into that mindset that like, hey, there's a lot of people out there. So like I can be as picky as I want to. And
Yeah.
I want this like insane unicorn because A, they're out there. B, I don't have money to pay several people. So I want everyone like to be very good at everything basically. And that's where this kind of, concept of T-shaped designers comes in, being like the designer needs to do everything, copy, research, UX, UI, and they have to be super senior, and we all talking about craft. So I think that's where the problem of the hiring begins, because
True.
companies want that profile. And the truth is, there are those profiles as well. And so, for as long as we are able to find those unicorns and fill those roles, I think like we feed them back into that mindset as well.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's bad because I can see that more and more talent actually wants to become this unicorn and like they learn more, they develop, they look up to those amazing designers who already became those like superstars on the hiring market. But in general, how I'm trying to balance the wants and the needs of the organization that is hiring is
Yeah.
by asking questions, like what is it that we're looking for? And when someone comes to me, and it happens more often than I wish it did, someone comes to me and says, like, we want to hire a designer from Spotify. Oh, and then when I bring designers from like very interesting tools, maybe like smaller companies, smaller tools, they say, but like, I don't see that they've worked in the good company. And that's where there is like a very interesting conversation that should happen. And I'm not trying to change the mind or challenge because if someone doesn't like a candidate, I can challenge as much as I want to, but like nothing is
Yeah.
going to happen. I'm just trying to understand where this comes from. Like, what is it that we're trying to find there? Is it that Spotify has pixel perfect design, which is true. They have like an outstanding design systems. UI is very strong, UX is
Yeah.
very strong. Like they build those like tribes and squads. So I'm trying to really bring examples into like, what Spotify is good at in design perspective and understand what is it really that we're trying to say, trying to understand how much of our personal opinion kind of defines what good design is. So I'm trying to just get a little bit more real, with the
Yeah.
hiring teams rather than be like, oh yeah, it's a bad portfolio. And then I bring the same portfolio to like a different, very strong client and they love it, right? So like I'm trying to just bring this feedback back to the hiring teams and be like,
I like
let's be
that.
a little bit more transparent with ourselves. What is it that we're looking for? And I think the biggest flex that I have, and it's very basic, I didn't come up with it, like how are we going to measure success of this person? Like, what is it that they actually going to do in the first
Yeah.
weeks? Don't give me 6 months, but what is it that you want them to do? Oh, I want like the staff, a growth product designer. All right, cool. Like, so what is the initiative that they're going to be working? And like, it's like design systems. Okay, but why do you need like a growth product designer then? Like, because it's
Yeah.
hyped on the market. So really having this like very transparent conversation. And I think it's totally okay because companies want things, but if they cannot communicate amongst themselves what is it and why they want, it's really hard to make a sale and it's really hard to find the right person. So I'm just trying to save the money for them in the very first place, and I think that's the narrative of the conversation that I'm having.
No, I love that. Like cutting through the BS of like the hiring process is so true. I want to go to the designers themselves. Like obviously, yeah, tough market and all that. What do you suggest beyond, throw your resume into an AI thing to get past screening, which may be true, or like, polish your portfolio, which people need to do for sure. But like, what does it really come down to in this market?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And I definitely would not recommend throwing CVs. I mean, I'm not saying that direct application does not lead to successful hires. Like you can apply for roles, but A, you have to be very quick with it. So when the role comes out, you have to apply for it right away. And B, you have to fit the role really, really well. So if you don't, then you're like, oh, maybe it's gonna work. It's not gonna work. Like let it go. Don't waste your time. I think like there is a much better way to go, and it's basically working with your network. And what I mean by that is that if you spend even 6 months in a company and that's like the only experience that you have worked with some of those folks, and they don't have to be only designers. They can be marketing, customer support, they can be sales, they can be recruiters, right? They can be engineers, product managers, and stuff like that. And then afterwards, you literally just go and text them and you try to see where they work, what they do, what companies they work in, other
Yeah.
companies hiring. Maybe they know someone who knows someone who is hiring. This is literally how it works in this market. And I am seeing that designers who are networking or asking to be referred for roles, they definitely succeed much better and faster.
Yeah.
At the same time, I 100% recommend reconnecting with the recruiters that you've worked with. I feel very happy with the candidates who I maybe like even interviewed but didn't hire. They come back to me now and they say, "Hey, Lena, like remember me? We talked when you were still hiring for Miro." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I really like that person, And something didn't work out back then, but like now it can." So it's not kind of shooting those messages into nowhere. Like we already connected, because if I don't know you, unless you're 100% like very interested and relevant for the roles that I'm hiring, there's very little chance that I'm even going to respond to you at the moment, because yeah, just like it's too busy and it's too crowded out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely something that I'm recommending. And there's like the whole system that I'm always advising. It's like, go out there and find 5 roles that you really, really like. And it should be prioritized by different criteria. So I want to be remote. I want to work in like, very mature, like kind of organization that's really valuing design. And then you then find product designers and PMs and engineers who work in this company, and you go and tell them that like you're very curious, like how is your experience? Like, is the culture as good as I'm hearing, or is it a little bit different? Yeah, this is something that I would do, like, having this like short LinkedIn conversations with people and trying to like just get acquainted with them, with the cultures, like getting in touch with the previous colleagues and just trying to get the word out there that I'm Lena looking for a role. And that's how it's going to start working.
Yeah. No, I love that advice. I think Final question I have for you is you've been doing this for a while. Where do you see these designers reporting to? Like, are you talking to product teams that want designers? Is it engineering teams? Is there like some magical design leader that has like, the ear of the CEO? Like, where are these designers actually? What teams are they working on?
It's very different. It's super different at this point. And of course, if you're looking at the companies like Spotify, Euro, and Meta and stuff, yeah, design as a rule reports into product. And it is what it is at the moment. And I
Yeah.
don't know if it's going to change. I am seeing a lot of design leaders moving into the product roles, for example,
Yeah.
because they want to grow to VP or CPO, and it's not really possible. I'm also seeing lots of design leaders moving into product because simply they like it better because, at that level of seniority, you're not so close to like craft, but like very close to like the UX and strategy, which just drives you into product, which makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm also seeing more and more smaller startups where, for example, there is like a C level, so like literally the CEO and a CTO and like maybe CPO, and then the director or like head of design would report into CEO. And I'm seeing that shift more and more often that the CEOs and like founders want to have a closer grip to like design and the culture
Nice.
and how the product is going to be working. So I think that's the shift that we're seeing with the whole industry understanding that, oh, wait, like, yes, design needs to bring money. And everyone was like, oh, like they're asking us now to show the impact. But if you're able to show it, you're also working with a very different level of closeness to like the overall strategy of the company
Yeah.
because you are working with the CEO. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
No, I love that. Where can people go to like follow you and keep up with all your insights?
Yeah, I'm very active on LinkedIn. So Lena Kul is the best way, I guess, to find me. And there is also a link to my Substack. And actually, now it's an exciting time because I will be closing some very cool gigs for hiring. And then some I'm going to be kicking off quite a few exciting events for candidates, job seekers, communities, and stuff like that. So yeah, LinkedIn is the best way to just follow that journey with me.
Hell yeah. Lena, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me, Alex.